Welcome to the Daily Exchange. We're talking about, can you live on Bitcoin from USA to Prague to China? We investigate. We'll see you guys right after this. Welcome back, guys. Bitcoin trading at $6,334. It's been moving up between that $6,110 mark to the $6,584. So the 6,165 mark, up and down, up and down, up and down. Sort of traveling real sideways. There's a sort of wedge building. Bitcoin wedge. The wedge. Joel, do you want to bring up the wedge? I love a good wedge. A Wednesday wedge. We've got a descending wedge pattern, apparently. And this is a potential indication of a trend reversal. You can see we're really moving in that side whizzle. Look at that. Now, there's a lot of people out there that are seeing that 5,800 mark as the support level. It is very critical, and we're going to come to that point very soon to see which way we're going to go based on human emotion and all sorts of things. Ethereum is trading at $209.78. We saw some recoveries compared to last week. Now, EOS has had some big news. Bancor has announced it will be bringing its product to the EOS network, and you'll be able to trade EOS and ERC20 tokens. So the Ether tokens and EOS tokens, you can swap them over on Bancor. They did delete this blog post, but we found it. And here it is. I love a good blog post, especially when it's picked up from outer space. The EOS X, Liquid EOS from Bancor is what it's called. The code name, EOS X. And it will be, I guess, Bancor where you don't have an exchange and allows you to trade tokens without an exchange. It'll allow you to trade EOS tokens, but potentially cross-chain liquidity between EOS tokens and ERC20 tokens, which is really, really cool. There is no timeline mentioned on the post, but we did find their deleted post, and here it is. It's kind of cool. EOS currently trading at $5.09. Bancor at around $1.37. Ethereum Classic. Charles Hoskinson attended and spoke at the summit, the Ethereum Classic Summit, which was held in Seoul, South Korea. He is the creator of Cardano and a co-creator of Ethereum. He had a few things he wants to talk about. We're going to roll some clips here. Joel, do you want to roll the first clip? Talk about the classic Ethereum Classic fork from Charles's perspective. Bitcoin was not simple by accident, it was simple by design. Because if you embrace immutability, you're going to screw stuff up. And you want to screw as little up as possible, or else you're going to lose credibility in the system. So an event occurred, the DAO. And after that event, both camps kind of got to their sides. The code is lawish, immutable people, they went to one side and they said, okay, well, that was bad, but nothing we can do, let's just keep going. And then the other group of people said, what the hell are you talking about? We're going proof of stake, and we can't have 15% of our money owned by some unknown hacker somewhere in the world. So they had irreconcilable differences. They fought, and then eventually they split. And now we have Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. Now, as a founder of Ethereum, I felt that because we raised money, and we raised money from both of these groups, not just one, we had a moral and fiduciary obligation to ensure a choice and an option. So shortly after the split occurred, I made a commitment, an unbounded commitment to the Ethereum Classic community to support it. So we put our money where our mouth was, we hired a bunch of developers, and we started active work on Ethereum software. So we didn't fork anything, we just took the yellow paper, the white paper, we took the documentation, and we just started writing code. It took us about a year to write the Mantis client. Bitcoin's example more than Ethereum and Vitalik. Do you want to spin this next clip as well, Joel?
I don't really think Ethereum Classic should use Ethereum as the benchmark and say, oh, well, whatever lessons they've learned are directly applicable to Ethereum Classic. Because the reality is Ethereum Classic is better Bitcoin. It's the next generation of Bitcoin. It's the thing Bitcoin ought to have been. So frankly, we should look to Bitcoin and we should look to the lessons of that ecosystem for inspiration, not the lessons of Vitalik, because he's just doing his own thing.
So he's saying that Ethereum Classic could potentially be better than Bitcoin. It's pretty intense. Another video, he's saying what he believes the road ahead could be for Ethereum Classic. Joel, if you want to spin that clip as well.
And the great value, I think, of the Ethereum Classic community for the road ahead is that we now have to pursue a completely alternative roadmap from where Ethereum is eventually going to go, and we have to somehow figure out what that is going to be. We have to become our own chain. We have to become our own ecosystem. We see a lot of great leaders emerging who can help guide us there, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a fight. And the tools we use as an ecosystem to resolve that fight are ultimately going to be tools that are applicable not just for us, but applicable for the entire space. Every single cryptocurrency, whether you be Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. And the advantage we have is we're still small.
So, a lot of interesting views by Charles there on the relevance of Ethereum Classic and where it should go and the roadmap ahead. You know, could it be the next Bitcoin? Could it potentially be the divergence away from where Ethereum's going and where Vitalik wants to take it? Probably yes, and that's where it will go. But we'll see where Ethereum Classic. I give Ethereum Classic a world of hurt on this show, and I apologize to everyone who's really into it, but that's just the way it goes. Moving on, Juniper Research has revealed via a survey that 65% of companies with 10,000 or more employees want to use blockchain, which is up 11% from last year. I don't know if you want to bring up this report, Joel. And in the report, it suggests that nearly half of the respondents are considering using Ethereum as the blockchain of choice. And that's really interesting because there's a lot of enterprise blockchains, like we talked to NEM yesterday, Eden Chain, quite a few weeks back, all targeting the enterprise space, and yet 50% of the enterprises themselves are looking at Ethereum as the potential solution. In terms of main providers, IBM and Microsoft seem to be up there. There was also a PwC report that came out, and 84% of the 600 executive survey said that companies were actively involved in using the technology. Blockchain is here. What's your next move? Which is kind of cool. Anyway, I think there was another report from Forbes which came out saying here are the top companies and what they're doing with blockchain. American Express, Amazon, Ford with its patents and its traffic flow systems, and Toyota could be, cryptocurrency could help enable self-driving cars, apparently, Toyota. If you want to look through the reports, guys, do check the links in the description of the videos. Moving on, let's talk about living on Bitcoin. Living on Bitcoin. We just recently, again, the Chinese central bank came out and made another warning about the risks involved with ICOs, calling them, in the translated version, unauthorized illegal public financing. UIPF. The unauthorized illegal public financing. However, a Chinese woman has recently lived for 21 days on Bitcoin, and she's called the Bitcoin Girl, streaming her experience on IQIYI. IQIYI. That's kind of cool. I like that name. It's not available in English, but you can see here, Joel, if you want to bring up the quote from the South China Morning Post, and we're going to give you a full link to the video. It says the documentary Bitcoin Girl shows a young woman known by her online identity as Hey Yu Bing. Hey Yu Bing. which translates as "why insane" in Mandarin, and her attempt to use the digital currency in 21 days, extending the cover of Beijing, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and Shanghai. Hey, you Bing who is from the southeast coastal province of Fujian, carried Bitcoin with about $1,400 US. Start of a trip expected to involve persuading shop owners, strangers to accept Bitcoin in exchange for food, accommodation, and traditional banknotes, while educating them about the benefits of blockchain technology behind cryptocurrency. That's kind of cool. Kind of cool. We've got a video. Do you want to roll the video, Joel? We've got Business Insider has a video. Well, we did a video where they went around with a bit of Bitcoin and a bar of gold and asked merchants which ones they would accept. I don't know if you want to spin this video up.
So I set out to see how difficult it is to spend Bitcoin and gold in New York City. As far as I can tell, the only person that accepts gold is Donald Trump in 2011, who accepted 3 gold bars worth $176,000 as a down payment on some commercial property. So what can I do with my alternative currencies? First, I went to my daughter's preschool to see if I could put a deposit down on next year's tuition. This is $4,000 worth of gold.
While it is nice and shiny, unfortunately, we don't accept bullion for tuition.
Okay. Well, do you accept Bitcoin?
We do.
Wow, they accept Bitcoin but don't accept gold bullion. There you have it. Much easier to transact potentially in Bitcoin than it is in gold itself. There are some new cities coming out, crypto-friendly cities. We've got a map here that's been put together, and Prague has topped the list of the 152 venues accepting Bitcoin. You can see the map of around the world here by coinmap.org. And Cointelegraph released this new list from this data. And it's kind of interesting where you can and can't accept Bitcoin there. You can see China not so much, Africa not so much, but Europe's pretty popular. A little bit of Australia, South America, US, Mexico. Looking good. It reminds me of those two cities in Agnes Lake in 1770 in Australia that live purely off crypto, where you can exchange and live off crypto itself. It's kind of cool. There is a map on Finder as well where you can discover, we'll put this on the link, who accepts Bitcoin in Australia, a map of ATMs, shops that accept Bitcoin for payment. So let's see how it goes. Talking about Palestine for a second, Palestine has been seeing, CoinDesk spoke with a financial analyst living in Gaza, and Bitcoin has enabled the Palestinians to really become and live a life outside of Palestine and in the rest of the world by accepting Bitcoin. The decentralized nature and the detachment from any government or state has enabled the growing number of Palestinians to invest their money abroad, which has been amazing. Speaking to CoinDesk, and I quote, the dealer in Gaza named Mohammed said, Bitcoin, in their opinion, is cheaper, safer, and quicker. He said, nothing works with Palestinian banks. Bitcoin wallets are alternative banks. It's great to see the Bitcoin being used as it was intended to free people from the constraints of government monetary policy, obviously, and to transact between borders freely, quickly, and give the financial autonomy to those who need it most, which is really, really cool. The adoption is happening. It's out there. All right, guys, final wrap-up of prices. Bitcoin trading at $6,330, Ethereum at $209 still, EOS at $5.09. Ripple is up 17.5%. 17.5% to $31 or almost $32. Ripple is, sorry, XRP. XRP and Ripple, not related entities. Considering yesterday we found out as well that most of the Ripple technology does not use the XRP token except for XRabbit, which does use the XRP token, which is not as well adopted. And Ethereum Classic at $10.59. Ripple flying up overnight. All right, guys, that's Daily Exchange. Do subscribe, press that little bell, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah!